I hadn't received the press release about your Radio Hall of Fame nomination until Chris called and he forwarded it to me. But my first question was, "You're not in the Hall of Fame? Why are you not in the Hall of Fame?"
well, honestly, I will tell you this: I'm in the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame, and I'm in the Country Radio Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And the national thing, when we got we were surprised with the announcement, I guess a couple of weeks ago, about a week ago, and we looked that up. It's unbelievable, some of the names that are in there to be associated with this thing. And, everybody like well-known radio people like Dick Clark and all that. But you go back and you got Abbott and Costello in there. We're talking about the history of radio.
Oh, yeah,
like
100
years. Radio's just about 100 years old, I think about it. And to be included in there is just really cool.
I really enjoyed listening to old time radio, so I can imagine the type of company you're in, like W.C. Fields and all those kind of people. So it's pretty elite.
What's really neat is I think WLS. Oh gosh, forgive my history here. WLS is one of the first 50,000 watt clear channels, and in WSM. Next year, we'll be celebrating its 100th anniversary. And, I worked 10 years at WSM, so,
That's Nashville, right? WSM?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the Grand Ole Opry station.
WLS is Chicago, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
that's where I grew up, so I grew up listening to WLS.
Oh, I listened to those guys, too. They were... all those, Larry Lujack.
Larry Lujack. That was the 70s and 80s when I was living there.
Well, I listened when I was growing up in Rogersville. You have to understand that when the radio station signed off at night, the only stations we had were the ones that came in loud and clear. FM wasn't even popular at that point.
Yeah.
So we were listening to WOW, Fort Wayne. We were listening to LS out of Chicago, CFL out of Chicago. WSM, WLAC, and all the clear channels. But when I was growing up, it was Lujack, John Rickards Landecker.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dick Biondi was on there, I believe. Scotty Brink. Ran into Scotty Brink down here years and years ago. We had a lot of fun times talking about WLS.
Yeah.
So, it's really cool. History of radio is really fascinating,
Yes, I love it. I love old time radio. I can sit, like if I'm going on a long trip, I could just get a big stack of cassettes or even listen to them off of YouTube, and that next thing you know, you're on the road 10 hours and you've completely lost track of time.
Hey, and by the way, another sidebar here. Thanks for what you did as far as the coverage of the school up there.
Oh, that was my pleasure. I love doing stuff like that.
The 100th anniversary and all that. We were. It was so. It's really pleasing to see the turnout they had.
Oh yeah.
My wife Karen and I got a chance to see a bunch of old friends. It was really nice.
Well, talking about this honor, just I haven't had a chance to read the press release. I literally just got it, but just kind of give me your thoughts or your reaction to this nomination. Is it a nomination or are you in?
Nomination.
Okay.
There are the way it was told to me, there were 2,800 names under consideration. They narrowed it down to 400, then they narrowed it down to 80, and then they narrowed it down to 24. And Lorianne and I are part of the final 24, 8 of which will be inducted.
Okay.
I understand it.
All right.
I was telling somebody the other day, I said, I was so thankful for WRGS there in Rogersville because the Beal family, I was fascinated by radio, okay? When I was 13, that's when I started going out there and doing part-time work on weekends and interning and all that. And I was fascinated about music more than anything else, and then the electronics kicked in. And I thought to myself, well, this is kind of cool. And I learned early on that, it was going to be a career, and it turned out to be my life more than anything else. Because I've been at this, oh, God, I'm thinking now. Let me count it up. Hang on a second. I'm about to enter my 59th year in radio.
Wow.
And, you know, because I'll be 72 in the fall. I'm 71 now, and I was 13 when I started out there. But no, it's really gratifying. I mean, we were totally surprised by this nomination, if you want to know the truth, because we're so focused on working every week. And Lon Helton, who does another countdown show, and he's part of the, he's in the Hall of Fame. He came by and surprised us for the nomination. So I'm very honored by it. You know, if we don't get in, fine. You know, that's. But the recognition at this point in your career, because Lori Ann and I just passed in September of last year. We marked our 40th anniversary of the Crook and Chase broadcast team, and you know, we're the longest running broadcast duo, I think, in radio history.
And you know, people my age probably remember you most from TV. But the show originated on radio, didn't it?
Well, actually, we started TV together. Honestly, we started TV in 1983, doing This Week in Country Music. And it's funny because in 1983, when we started This Week in Country Music, Jim Owens, the producer who later became Lori Ann's husband, excuse me, had this idea that let's report on what's happening in country music. It started to kick off a little bit here in the early 80s with Alabama and some of these other groups. And sure, so we put together a pilot, and he took it to the conventions and sold it in syndication. And we had a 30-minute show, of which 23 minutes is programming, the rest of it's commercials. We had a tough time filling 23 minutes of country music news, honestly, once a week. And then everything exploded. And what we were doing became the daily Crook and Chase show, and then later Music City Tonight, and so forth and so on. So yeah, and then the radio kicked in 1987, early part of 87, when we started offering updates. We had all this country music news coming in, so we offered snippets to I think we had 600 radio stations that we would offer snippets once a week of little updates that ran about a minute. So that's what started, and then we started the Countdown Show with the Nashville Network radio division in 1989. So we've been in radio almost 40 years, but TV 40. Yeah.
So you're still on the radio.
Yeah, we're on radio. We're on WRGS every Saturday morning out there.
Okay.
we have been forever, and so yeah, it's kind of neat to have your own hometown radio station playing the show.
Yeah, I've told them forever you need to jack up the wattage because it doesn't go past Churchill. So
oh gosh, I know, and you see I think that's the reason. Don't they simulcast on the FM now?
Yeah, they do.
WEYE?
They do.
Because I think that was the purpose of doing that. Because when I was there, it was 1,000 watts, and then there was, I think, let's see, when we signed on, we were like at half power, and then we had to wait to a certain time to sign on full power. It's just because of the signals and the radio stations. Yeah.
So,
and I understand that.
How many stations does your show go out on right now?
150.
Oh boy, from coast to coast. Okay, all righty. So, what is the timeline then for finding out the results of this?
I believe, and that may be in the press release there. I believe June 17 is when the announcement is made. Final announcement is made, and then they're having the ceremony for the first time, I believe, in Nashville this year, and I think in September. I forgive me if those dates are wrong, but they normally have it. I think they had it in New York and Chicago the past couple of years. This year it's going to be in Nashville for the first time.
Okay. Is this the first time you've been nominated at this level?
Yes, it is.
So
I was inducted in the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame and Country Radio Hall of Fame back in 2013. And then we received the Bob Kingsley Living Legend Award, too, in 2017.
Okay. Yeah. All righty. Well, is there anything else that you want folks at home here to know about this honor?
Well, I'm always proud of my hometown of Rogersville. I talk about it every chance I get. But I can't thank Rogersville and the people of Rogersville enough for the support I received when I was growing up there. Many of whom are still there. My classmates are now the leaders of the community. And I'm just oh gosh, I'm lost for words really. But what would I want the people of Rogersville to know? Just thank you for everything they've done for me in launching my career there, and I'm proud to say that I'm from Rogersville.
Now, do you guys get to go to the ceremony, or is it just the
Well, we get to go. I think, regardless.
Okay. Now I don't want to be I don't want to be a jinx, but even if it didn't happen this time, is do you continue to be eligible? And
I think so. Yeah, I think that's the way it works. I can't say for sure, but oh yeah.
Like baseball, I always think of the Baseball Hall of Fame.
No. I know. Yeah, baseball. That's kind of a different ball game, so to speak. But yeah, I think we would still be eligible for consideration in the future. But like I say, the recognition now is special, considering just the association with all the names that are listed. And if you go to that website, it's phenomenal. And I think Lon told us there in the Broadcast Hall of Fame, the Radio Hall of Fame, and all that, or the Hall of Fame for broadcasting and all that, in the radio division, in 100 years, only 320 have been not inducted.
Wow!
Out of 100 years,
so that's pretty elite.
Yeah. So just to be considered for that position is
out of 100. There's only 320 in the Hall of Fame out of 100 years.
Not 100 years of radio.
Golly.
I think that's right. Look that up. Double check it, but I think that's what Lon
told us. Fact check. Have to do a little fact check on that one. Now, who are some of the names that are in the Hall of Fame that I know we talked about this briefly a minute ago, but the names that that were a big influence on you growing up and that you kind of emulated?
Oh gosh. Oh, let me look at the list here if I can tell you. I mean, like I say, I used to, when you listen to, in my case, or in our career, if you listen to a radio station long enough, you find yourself battling not to try to sound like them. You want to develop your own style, which is what I tried to do. I incorporated a lot of influences. I listened to the guys on WLS. I listened to not just jocks, particular jocks, but I listened to all of them. To WLS, WOWO, Fort Wayne, Indiana. I listened to WSM. I listened to WLAC. I even listened to the jocks up in the Tri-Cities, the WJSO Jonesboro. And some of the other, and WNOX Knoxville. I ended up working in Knoxville for a while.
Oh, okay.
So I just listened. When I got hooked on radio, I was hooked on music more than anything else because I was playing drums. But when I got hooked on radio, I started listening to everybody, and I said, "Now I like what he does there. I like what he does there, and then how can I do that differently?" And the biggest thing that I tell people that I enjoyed most about being in radio was the responsibility, the importance that went along with it. Because when I was there at WRGS, radio station was the focal point. I think it still is. It's a focal point in the community. If you want to, I remember Ralph Anderson, who was superintendent of schools, calling me while I was on the air to say, Charlie Wayne said, we're not going to have school tomorrow. It was snowing, right? He said, we're calling off school tomorrow. And I thought to myself, I've got the knowledge. It's my job to tell everybody you're off tomorrow.
Yeah.
And this is while I'm in school too, right?
Yeah.
So, the responsibility and people counting on you, they turn on the radio, they want you to be there. They want the information from you. There's a trust that develops over the years, and I hopefully was able to develop that wherever I went, because from Rogersville I went to Kingsport, WKIN. From there I went to WKGN Knoxville, worked for George Mooney, who was the play-by-play broadcaster before John Ward for the Volunteers. And then I was transferred to Nashville when they sold that station, and I've been in Nashville since '74.
Wow.
And when I came down here at WMAK, I was there for about a year and a half. Then I replaced Pat Sajak at WSM. Pat went to television only for about a year, and then went on to California and did Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
But I replaced Sajak on WSM for 10 years. And then I finally got out of radio, and I still do radio through syndication, but primarily I was concentrating on TV after that.
Right.
So it's been a ride and a half, man. I got to tell you, Jeff, it has.
When you talk about responsibility, now I did have a brief radio career.
Yeah.
When I was at the Harlan Daily Enterprise, I was the news editor, and WTUK, our advertising director became the manager of WTUK. And so he had me come in Monday morning for an hour and just kind of talk about news and interview people. And I found out everybody listened to that because they wanted to, they were interested. And so it is, it's a big responsibility.
That's how they started their day when I was growing up. They'd have the radio on, get all the local stuff. You know, you can get syndicated shows everywhere, but I think a local, and they have local. They're local at WRGS in the morning, you know.
Yep.
And that's important for people to stay in touch and do the swap shop and all this sort of thing.
Right.
But let me add something else here, too. My wife, Karen, and I have been married 52 years. She has been on this ride with me from the get-go because we were dating in high school. And her input and her support, I can't tell you how important that's been to the success and just continued success to enjoy what I do and call it a career.
Yeah.
She you know, she's got a T-shirt that she loves to wear. It says, "I may be old, but I got to see all the cool bands."
Yeah.
And through radio, we had the chance to go backstage, and you know, because we fronted the shows, especially in Knoxville. But I will tell you this. Since music's been so much a part of our lives, our first concert together was in Kingsport. We went to see the Lemon Pipers, and they had Green Tambourine was number one that week. I think it was 1968 when we saw them. And then we saw Paul Revere and the Raiders and all that. And I later see half of the members of the Paul Revere and the Raiders down here. But we were backstage with Jim Croce before he passed.
Oh, wow.
He was killed in a plane crash. We were backstage with Loggins and Messina, the Doobie Brothers, John Denver, Elton John, the Stones. It goes, anybody. It's unbelievable. And then the country artists. Oh, my gosh. You know, I mean, we're hands-on with all these guys now, and they're incredible. Morgan Wallen, you know.
Yeah.
Things stop throwing furniture. No, I didn't say that. No, he's a good guy. So,
yeah. He was channeling Keith Moon, I think.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah, keep me out of that conversation. But no. It's a pleasing job, and I'm honored by the recognition for what's happened in my career so far.
Well, I congratulate you, and I think it's a wonderful thing, and I'm not even going to consider the possibility that you're not one of the ones chosen. So that's
thank you for your confidence. I appreciate that.
Seems inconceivable. I'm shocked to find out that it hasn't happened yet. So.
Well, you're very kind, Jeff. I appreciate that. But again, thanks for all you do up there for Rogersville. We stay in touch. I get the review every week. And,
good. Appreciate
see it online.